Protesters and violent left-wing agitators continue destroying historical monuments across the nation, including those dedicated to African Americans and those who fought against slavery. One America's Pearson has more.
The radical left movement to destroy America's heritage is in full force in recent weeks, with militant protesters turning their attention to tearing down historical statues across the country. They claim their goal is to remove racist monuments from public places, but in their ignorance, they're also destroying statues dedicated to abolitionists, black heroes, and even freed slaves themselves. In Boston, thousands of protesters swarmed the streets, attacking the Robert Gould Shaw and the 54th Regiment Memorial as a piece of racist history. Ironically, the monument is dedicated to the first black volunteer regiment of the Union Army in the Civil War. After President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, 1,000 black men signed up to fight for their freedom, and the monument is a tribute to their struggle. And in Duluth, Minnesota, amazingly, protesters also vandalized the Clayton Jackson McGee Memorial, which was dedicated to the memory of 3 black men who were lynched after being wrongly accused of rape. Even a statue of Mahatma Gandhi was defaced outside the Indian Embassy in Washington, D.C., and in Denver, Colorado, a memorial for the victims of the Armenian genocide was vandalized with anti-cop graffiti. Protesters also defaced and tore down statues dedicated to those who fought for the freedom of slaves as well. In Philadelphia, rioters turned their hatred toward the statue of abolitionist Matthias Baldwin, spray painting colonizer and murderer on the monument. Baldwin was actually an outspoken critic against slavery and fought for the rights of black Americans to vote. In Wisconsin, rioters destroyed the statue of Hans Christian Heg that stood in front of the Capitol. Heg was an immigrant from Norway who became a vocal critic of slavery. He fought in the Union Army and was killed leading a charge against the Confederates, literally giving his life to fight for the freedom of African Americans, and the protesters tore down his statue. Another statue of a man who fought against slavery was torn down was that of Ulysses S. Grant in San Francisco. Grant was given a slave before the war, but freed the man in less than a year in 1859, claiming that slavery was a stain on the Union. Grant then went on to help defeat the Confederates, fought against the KKK, appointed African Americans into high-ranking government roles, and is now known as one of the greatest champions of African American civil rights, including helping pass the 15th Amendment, giving blacks the right to vote. Even a statue of President Abraham Lincoln in Boston is under attack, with protesters claiming it's racist. The statue features Lincoln standing over a freed slave, urging him to rise up, and holding a copy of the Emancipation Proclamation in one hand. And, according to the National Park Service, the statue is a copy of one in D.C. which was paid for entirely by freed slaves. It's not clear where the line will be drawn for these violent, destructive protesters, or why Democrats and Republicans alike are not challenging them. But in their ignorance, they're destroying not only the history of America, but the history of key figures who fought to protect black rights. Pearson, One America News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.